How's it going, guys? Alright, so Eagles game just ended. I'm going to give a couple quick thoughts here. It's really late. Got to work in the morning, so I'm going to keep the video as short as I can. Just a couple things I want to say. And then, maybe make a video later on looking at things a little more closely. Maybe not, but anyway, game just ended. Dallas Cowboys win the game in overtime, 29-23. Eagles don't even get a shot at possessing the ball in overtime. Such is the rules. I think I just made that video earlier today talking about game that ended in a tie. I'd much rather end this way, and sucks that the Eagles didn't get a shot at the ball in overtime, but that's the way the rules go. But couple comments I want to make. For the definitely third or fourth game in a row now, there has just been some blatantly bad officiating that goes against the Eagles at the worst possible times. This week it wasn't so much that they were over-calling penalties on the Eagles. They just flat out missed a couple holding penalties. Now, I know you could say, well, you can call holding on every play, yada, yada, yada. That might be true. But at especially the last play of the game, two players blatantly were getting towards Dak Prescott, and I looked at both of them and I thought both of them were getting held. Shoulder pads were up, telling me that the offensive line didn't have them inside the shoulder pads like they're supposed to. The shoulder pads were up, just being held. Still no excuse. I guess players run into each other. Two Eagles run into each other, take each other out, leaving Jason Witten wide open in the end zone. But anyway, so that's thought number one. That these refs, and it's all over the NFL. There has been some just horrible officiating the last few weeks. So I would love to see the NFL get that straightened out and figure out what the hell's going on, because it's getting pretty bad. So that's thought number one. Thought number two is Jalen Mills. Repeatedly, 3 or 4 times specifically, 2 in the last series there in overtime, kept and keeps getting burned. I do not like this kid. I do not like him at all. And here's why. Because he gets burned. Then every now and then he'll make one good play and look around at everybody and tell everybody to quiet. Shh, I got it. That was all me. It's like, I can't stand you, Jalen Mills. You repeatedly get burned, and it's starting to really cost us. Cole Beasley, twice on that drive in overtime, got wide open. You weren't even within 3 or 4 yards of him when he made his cut, and he got easy yards. And it's getting old. I don't know if they need to move you to a different position. I don't know if they just need to completely replace you. What they need to do with you, Jalen Mills, to get you to quit getting burned as badly as you're getting burned. Nolan Carroll, he does stupid stuff sometimes. He pass interference calls, at the worst possible time. But the one thing I have to say about Nolan Carroll is at least he's near his man. He stays with his man. Malcolm Jenkins, I think you're brilliant. I have my issues with some of the players on defense, but at least they're with their guy. Jalen Mills, you constantly get beat, and you're nowhere near your man when he catches the ball. So that's thought number two. Jalen Mills, I don't know what the team needs to do. I don't know if they need to replace you, work with you, whatever. It's got to stop. Getting burned has got to stop. And the third thing I want to say is to everybody who is freaking out about this game, and it's not even EDP right now. I don't even have an issue because EDP's been silent during this game. A couple times, early in the game, he made a prediction with still 3 minutes left to go about, they tie the game. We're going to, that's it, game over. I'm sick and tired of those comments. Yeah, it ended up being a loss, but with 3 minutes left to go, it was not guaranteed. The Eagles' defense stood up at the end of the game, stopped 2 drives, sacked Dak Prescott, and made a game of it. Here's the thing, and I'm not. This is not just calling out EDP. This is calling out anybody that can't. Does this team have rough spots? Yes, we knew coming into this season that this team had weaknesses. We don't have a real threat at receiver. We don't have a downfield threat. We don't have a lot of our defense is starting to get stronger. We've got weaknesses on defense though, and at the beginning of the season, nobody was really giving this team a real chance to win more than a few games. We've won four. We're at 4-3. We're just a couple games back in the East. We're going to meet the Cowboys again. We haven't played New York yet. We've got teams that we can beat. We can do well in this season. And what I want to remind people of is, for everybody who's out there saying Eagles suck, I can't stand this team, then don't root for them. If you root for this team and you love this team with all the passion that you should as a true fan, then you go through the struggles with them and it makes you want to pull your hair out. Yes, it causes heartbreak, but you stand by your team. And the fact that the Eagles fought and brought this game to overtime, I'm excited about. It's one of those strengths that in other videos that I've made that you take and you build upon for the future. Yeah, this is still what I consider a rebuilding year. We're seeing some more success than we thought we would, but it's still what I would consider a rebuilding year. And you have to allow for these types of things to happen. So is it frustrating? Yes. Is it heartbreaking when things like this happen? Yes. But this team is still 4 and 5 steps ahead of where I thought that they were going to be when the season began. When the season began, 1, 2, maybe 3 wins on the year is what I thought we'd get to. We won 4 out of the first, 6? And we're still in contention. Again, as far as how many losses we have, some of the great teams that are going to get into the playoffs and probably represent in the Super Bowl, they're at 2 losses. They're at 1 or 2 or 3 losses. So we need to chill. We need to relax. We need to let the team continue to grow and improve. Carson Wentz is still growing and improving, and this game was what we thought it was going to be. I said it in a video earlier today. I knew that this was going to be an interesting contest, and if the defense showed up, it could be really competitive, and that's exactly what happened. They put a little pressure on Dak Prescott. He wasn't phenomenal. They didn't run the score up like they have on other teams. This is a challenge. I'm not saying that he's not talented. I'm not saying that the Dallas Cowboys aren't talented. Greatest offensive line in football right now. But you have to remember, we've got a lot of young, new players on the team right now, starting. And it's going to be a struggle. It'll continue to be a struggle probably all year. We take the successes that we can find and build on them. So to anyone who is frustrated with the loss, be frustrated with the loss. But don't say you hate the team. Don't say they make you mad all the time. They can make you mad. They can frustrate you. They can break your heart. But don't say you hate the team. Anybody that's out there says, I hate this team, then don't root for them. Dump them. Because here's the thing. You don't deserve to be a fan if you can't stick with them through the rough times. Does this happen a lot? Yes. We're still rebuilding. We're still finding out who we are and what our strengths and true positives are. So relax. Take this as a hard-fought loss. Take things that we can learn from with this. When Dallas comes to Philly, I know it'll be close again. It might be a whole new ball game, though. So with that being said, those are my thoughts on the game. It was a hard-fought game. Offense played well, with the exception of receivers dropping some easy passes. I completely agree. We don't have much in terms of weapons at offense or at receiver. But Carson plays smart. Error-free football. No interceptions this week. The only turnover we had was a fumble by Wendell Smallwood, and then he didn't see any more action. I'm not sure why Ryan Matthews didn't see a lot of action. He had the one touchdown early on, and then you didn't see him again for the rest of the game. I don't know if there was an injury. I didn't see anything pop up about that. But there was some smart, efficient football. Some sketchy play calls there in the second half where he was throwing it short a lot, wasn't really attacking in the second half really at all. A lot of short, underneath passes, out in the flat. It just wasn't working. But with that being said, defensively, I thought they fought hard. I thought they fought really hard, gave that offensive line everything they could handle, kept Ezekiel Elliott to, some, I don't, did Ezekiel Elliott score a touchdown? I can't remember if he scored a touchdown or not. Point being, they kept him under control. They kept the offense under control. And then in overtime, the defense had just been out there so much at the end of the game, and then into overtime, that long delayed drive that they just kept sustaining. They got them down to that 4th and 1. And they held them to that 4th and 1, and then they just were able to get it and extend the drive even longer. And even on that final play, Dak Prescott had all the time in the world. Yes, I think there were a couple holds there that should have been called, and it ticks me off. But you can't ask the defensive guys to cover that long and expect to be able to do much. So, disappointing, heartbreaking, frustrating loss, of course. But at the end of the day, there's things to learn from, things to build on, and this was not, the one thing I will say about EDP, he predicted we were going to get destroyed, and that did not happen. It was a hard-fought loss, and I'll take that. These are more heartbreaking and more frustrating than if you were to get blown out. It's worse when it's close because you have a chance. But that's what you have to focus on, the fact that we had a chance. So it was a hard-fought game, frustrating and heartbreaking. Yes, I completely agree. But at the same time, you take what you can from it, learn from it, build on it, and we're still in a decent position. A couple games back in the East, but we're still in a good position within the league. We can compete and will compete with any team that is in front of us, and we've proven that. We need to learn how to finish defensively, but that'll come. Don't freak out. Keep believing in this team. Keep the faith in this team. Keep supporting this team, and keep loving this team. You don't bail on a team because of some struggles that we're going to have this year. If you do that, then I question how much you really care about this team at all. So with that being said, always fly, Eagles, fly. Next week we have New York, I believe, coming to Philly. Or are we away? Need to look this up real quick because I'm curious. Trying to type left-handed here. I'm not very good at it. Let's see here. Schedule. All right. So, no, excuse me. We are away. We are at New York next week. So we were at Dallas, at New York, and then home for Atlanta. Now, Atlanta is scary. Next week should be another hard-fought divisional game. But keep the faith. Fly, Eagles, fly. Let's forget this. Move on to the Giants and hope for a better week next week. So those are my thoughts for the game. Keep the faith and fly, Eagles, fly.